Hi everyone, so today I'm going to show you how to make some fun Halloween decorations. All of these decorations were made from things I found at the dollar store and also things that I already had in my home, like paper towel rolls and old bottles and things that were just lying around. And these are things that you can add into your Halloween decor that you may already have and just make your house look extra spooky this year. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first decoration we're going to focus on is my spooky tree tutorial. So here you can see an example of some fake flower stems that I got from the dollar store, and that's going to be the base of our spooky tree. Once you have a few of those fake flower stems, you're going to go ahead and start twisting them together with some tape. And there you can see here that I added a little bit of wire in some of those spots, just in places that felt a little bare. You can also see here that I added some foil to the middle of my tree just to make that trunk nice and thick, and twisted the tape around the branches to give them that real creepy Halloween look. And here's an example of how I did that. Just started there at the bottom and took my time on each individual branch, just twisting the tape upward to make it look nice and kind of crooked. That's the beauty of Halloween decorations, is they kind of have this crooked, creepy, spooky look to them. So go ahead and do that all the way through your entire tree until everything is covered. Now that you have your tree completely covered, we're going to go ahead and start spray painting. So this you'll need some flat black spray paint, some masking tape, and something to put down on the ground so that you're not getting spray paint all over your outside concrete area. So make sure that your paint is mixed very well and go ahead and start painting that until your tree is fully black and all the crevices are covered. This took me maybe 2 or 3 coats to get it fully covered and all the little inside spots. Next, you don't necessarily have to do this part, but I wanted to make the base of my tree kind of fancy, so I took a glass little vase type of a thing and put some hot glue on there in a spiderweb design. And then we put some styrofoam in there to give it some support, and just stuck the tree right there in the middle with some hot glue just to make sure everything was nice and secure. And here you can see it standing tall. Then we went ahead and put in some moss just to give it even more of a spooky look, and spray painted at the bottom of that. So as you can see here, everything is completely black, looking super finished. No more tape spots or any colors, everything is evenly coated. So went ahead and started to do some decorating. I decided to make my tree a spider tree. Working with those spider webs was quite an adventure. They are tricky to pull apart, but it was still fun. And here's the finished product. So here you can see that nice base at the bottom, everything is black and evenly coated, all of those branches look nice and creepy, and we covered it in some spider webs and some really cool jewel orange spiders that I got from the Dollar Tree. The next decoration I'm going to show you is how to make these really cool fake creepy candles. You can see there in the back I have my first one, which was definitely a tester. It's a little crooked. But you're going to want to go ahead and start with a paper towel roll or a toilet paper roll for the base of your candle. Now that you have all your supplies, you're going to go ahead and take a warm hot glue gun and start trying to make these little drippy shapes. I noticed what helped me was starting there at the bottom and making a little pool of hot glue and then making a thinner stream going upward towards the top. You can play around with it and make it however you want it to look, and this was just how I did it and what worked for me. Now that you've finished the paper towel roll, you can go ahead and start putting some of those strips on your fake candle to try and match the top. Something that helped me also is anytime you're using hot glue, I would suggest once everything is dry, just taking a kind of scruffy brush and giving that a brush to get all of those little hot glue strings off, and that will make your project look a lot neater. Now we're going to go ahead and add some spray paint to our project. So you're going to want to make sure that you have a flat white spray paint. You can also just use regular acrylic paint if you don't have spray paint, but we want to get a nice even coat of white. Once that spray paint or white coat is fully dry, we are going to start making this candle look nice and old. So we're going to take maybe some tan paint or a color that you like that you want for your candle and add a little bit of water to it and give it this nice little wash of color to make it look antique or old or however you want it to look. We're going to give it some color so that it's not just white. Also going to go ahead and do that on the actual fake candle that you put those smaller drips on so that everything matches the base. And if you want to go ahead and put any dark colors to give it some more texture and some more dimension, you can do that too. It's really however you want it to look. I like mine to look old and antique, so I'm trying to take my time and really put all the details in there. And here is the final product of our Halloween antique candle. So as you can see, the top and the bottom are a little bit different looking, but once it's lit, it looks really nice together, and it just adds a lot of light and fun things to your Halloween decorations. So now I'm going to show you guys how to make these little spider bowls. These are actually going to be the easiest project that we're doing. They're just a spider bowl that I got from the dollar store and repainted it a flat black and took some green and purple paint with a feathered brush to give it some texture. I'm a huge fan of buying decorations nice and cheap, but also taking the time just to make them look nicer and a little bit more personalized and artistic. And so I took my brush and used the paint just to give a coat of dry brushing on it, so that you have a black bowl, but you have some little pops of like purple and green and color, just to make it stand out a little bit more. So I went on to do the green colored one, and this personally was my favorite. I just went ahead and dry brushed it again on there and tried to make sure not to put too much paint, but just to give it a little bit of those pops of green, bright colors. And that is it. This one is super simple. It's something you can easily just pick up and do quickly for a nice relaxing craft, just to make those candy bowls stand out a little bit more and just a little bit more personal. You can't really see the purple very well, unfortunately, on mine, but I really like the way that the green turned out. The next project we're going to do, and quite possibly my favorite because I thought it was really fun, is making these apothecary bottles. So all you need to do is find a fun bottle at home that you have that's kind of a unique shape. This one was a honey bottle that had a cork, and I thought it was super cute. I went ahead and took some sandpaper and started sanding down the glass to give it a nice distressed, kind of old antique look, and it also just kind of scratches up the glass and makes it also a little bit foggier looking. So now what you're going to want to do is find some type of glue. Here I just made my own glue out of some flour and some water until I made a paste. And we are going to go ahead and start painting that onto our bottle to give it this nice antique, foggy, distressed looking aesthetic to it. And you're going to want to go ahead and just brush up and down all the way around the bottle, and I think I did maybe about 2 or 3 layers of this. Another tip would be to take a dry paper towel and just kind of blot it around your bottle to pick up any spots where maybe you put too much paste, or to also give it a little bit of more of a texture in that layer that you are working on. So now that you've let those dry, you're going to go ahead and take some printed labels. These ones I got off of Pinterest, and personally this last page was my absolute favorite because of all the detail that was on there. And you're going to pick some that fit the bottles that you have and go ahead and cut those out. For this next step, you really get to decide what you like. So I decided that I was going to do a wash of some color on top of that dried, foggy paste layers that I did. And I chose like some browns and tans and even just a little touch of red there just to add some color and kind of tint the glass even a little bit more than just the foggy layers. all that beautiful color onto a glass bottle and let that dry, it is time to start decorating. So this bottle, because I already thought it was so cute, I went ahead and glued on that label there and added just a little bit of color to that too, so it didn't look just like white printer paper, and just used my paste just to brush that on there to get it nice and secure. And then I decided to keep this one pretty simple and just add some twine on the middle layer of that top part underneath the cork. I thought that that just kind of had a very simple, kind of creepy look to it, and yeah, I just like the way that that turned out. And here's the final product of those apothecary bottles. So you can see the one that I did with you there in the front, and then I also did a second one there in the back because I found this really cool bottle and they just make a really nice pair and worked so nicely with all of the rest of my Halloween decor. This next project is pretty fun too. So we're going to make some poison apples out of these fake apples that I found in the dollar section. This whole bunch was only $3 at Target, which was a really exciting find, to be honest. But I took one out and went ahead and painted it an extra coat of red just to make that a little bit brighter. And then I found a reference picture, as you can see here, and put that on my phone so I had something to reference while drawing the face on my apple. I used a white colored pencil to draw that face so that I could see it clearly and just keep track of where I'm going to put those hot glue marks. Now that I've drawn the face that I'm happy with, I'm going to take a warm hot glue gun with lots of hot glue sticks nearby, because this is something you're going to want to work fast with, and just go ahead and start picking a place to start at in kind of the same way that we did the drips with the candles. I personally like to start from the bottom and work my way up, but you're going to do that all the way around the apple to give this nice dripping dipped look effect. And also want to go ahead and trace the hot glue around those marks. So as you can see here, I'm tracing around the eyes, trying to keep the middle of the eyes clear so that this apple looks like a skeleton face there in the middle. The cool thing about hot glue is that it doesn't typically take too long to dry. So once that is all dry and your apple is fully covered, you're going to go ahead and start doing those layers of white paint. Now if you wanted to be extra prepared, you could also just buy white glue sticks from a craft store and use those. But unfortunately I had regular glue sticks, so I'm going to paint my hot glue parts to make this dripping white effect. Also for Snow White poison apple, sometimes people use lime green instead of white, but I decided I liked white for this one. So here is my poison apple, the finished product. I love the way this turned out. It took me about 3 coats of white to get that nice and thick. And I had to fix the eyes at one point, but I think it turned out pretty good. And I love how it's kind of like a Disney kind of villain reference, and I just think it looks really cool with the rest of my Halloween decorations. So this is the last project that I'm going to share with you guys, and probably the one I'm not going to be as specific on. So all of these things I got from the dollar store, and it really just depends on what things grab your eye when you're there and how you want to make this food. But this is what I got. So I have a wreath and a little eek sign and some flowers and decorations to put on there. So I went ahead and spray painted the wreath, as you saw, and spray painted this eek sign to get started. And then I went ahead and started to glue on these little branch glittery things that are at the bottom to give it something kind of fun and bright. And then I decided that I wanted this to kind of match my spider holes just a little bit. So I took a feathered brush and this cool, like bright purple, and you'll see later I added some green in there, but I'm just kind of brushing up and down to give it a little bit more texture, especially around there at the edges. I found that if I do it close to the edges catch more of the color and then leave the inside looking a little bit more distressed. And you can see the green there I just did on the edges. And really, that's pretty much it. Like I said, it depends on what you find and what you like. I only really painted the wreath and the eek sign, and then just kind of arranged all those branches and flowers and little fake spiders just to make it look really fun and creepy. This is how it looked on my table. I love it in this orange lighting, just really brings out some of that green color especially, and I'm just really excited about the way it turned out. So that is pretty much it. You can see that we have the wreath, the tree, the creepy candles, and all of the apothecary bottles that we learned how to make today. And just want to encourage you guys, if you find stuff at the dollar store, don't be scared to give it an extra coat of paint just to make it look extra creepy and spooky for your Halloween decorations. And I hope that this year you have a safe and wonderful Halloween and find a fun way to celebrate despite pandemic and all the crazy things happening. And I just wish you guys a happy and fun holiday. Thank you so much for watching. See you later.